You also had an interview, of course, with Scott McKay, Patriot Street Fighter. How was this interview?
Yeah, really fun. I love talking to Scott McKay. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
He's a true divine masculine like yourself. And I love how direct he is.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, I haven't talked to him for a while. I think the last time was a year or two ago. We were called to a same meeting. I forget what it was, but anyways, yeah, go check it out, guys. If you haven't seen it, Patriot Street Fighter is his link there on Rumble. Janine, quite a few things we need to look at this evening. I want to start here again. We touched on some of these topics as they came about here in the last week or so on pay-per-view for the audience members, but I kind of want to go back a little bit here and see how this ties into perhaps what we're seeing now and all the rhetoric we're seeing on Capitol Hill. So a couple of days ago, Trump issued pardons here for a couple of people, including, of course, Giuliani, who the BBC and some other mainstream news are saying were accused of a plot to overturn the 2020 election. I love how they want to frame that. Wouldn't it be more apropos to say this guy was accused of trying to push forward election integrity and question whether or not we indeed had election integrity in 2020? So you can see the motivation there is very different in the way they're spinning this in the title. But then nonetheless, interestingly enough now, this seems to be setting the stage, Janine, for perhaps another one of those angles of big awakening. You just said at the beginning of the show, things are happening and it's encouraging, but yet it's hard to see if you're just watching mainstream news and you're looking at, asinine titles like this. You don't really understand the ramification of what's being said. Now, you and I, when we looked at this the other day, I believe your cards were suggesting that this was a precursor here to move some chess pieces around the board with respect to the last election, and that at some point here we would get justice and perhaps even rewriting of history here. But first, they need to kind of educate the public as to what happened. So the release of Giuliani and others here is very interesting to me. I want you to do a poll right now to see if we can get a timing from this move now to perhaps what's the next kind of domino piece to fall. Are we going to tie in this move to then maybe the Dominion machines? Are we going to use this to perhaps go to Maricopa County and see some of the illegitimate tactics that were being used? Like, what do we see next here after this move? And perhaps also, is it 2 weeks away? Is it a month ago? Is it 7 months away? Like, what's the timing here? What can we expect on all of this? Oh, great. That's a nice poll also. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to have to do it that way for that.
Yeah.
So the past, so it was all so confusing and so much, so many conflicting, reports in the past leading up to where we are now. We're in a much stronger place now with the truth. It seems like a lot more people understand it. Not enough, but a lot more. And also they have a much stronger, because they took their time to build and explain, and so many things have come out slowly over the years. I feel like they're in a much stronger position, and it's a lot less likely that they're going to get sort of talked down from their position. They being the people bringing this to everybody's attention, that yes, there was election interference, and yes, and they've built this for years. They've built up all kinds of evidence about it. It's amazing, actually. Here we've got the Knight of Pentacles. So we still have, so this is the near future. We're sitting in a strong position. We've strengthened our position. At the beginning, it could easily be just called, patriots positioning themselves and crying the blues because they lost the election. It could have looked like that if it was just left, but with all the years of things coming out, layering, strengthened, we have a really strong position here. And now we've got this patience card. So that feels like now they have to be really careful how they sort of put the hammer down next, or what nail they hammer in next. I don't know how to say it, but
I understand. So it's kind of like a test trial in a way, and they're gauging to see which domino here moves forward.
Yep. Yep.
They're being very strategic here.
They're being very strategic and very careful because they don't want to lose the ground they've gained. They've gained a lot of ground. A lot more people are looking at it like this could be a real thing.
Right.
And of course, this community's always thought that that was a real thing. So the hidden influence is not to get disappointed and stay in where we were back here. We're way stronger than back here. Like when this all first happened, it was very disappointing, so disappointing. Okay, and we can't stay back here because we've strengthened our position. We have so many angles we can prove it now. They got so many ways they can just make this a truth in real time.
Yeah.
Okay, so and it feels like they do have a really definitive thing to come out, and that's what they're being careful. When do they bring it out? Okay, so when do they, like, there's something very definitive. I don't know if it's that case, that Brunson case, maybe. I don't know what, but it's something that would really be that final nail. And they're even debating when to bring it out, I feel like, amongst themselves. Okay. So there could even be a debate and it's all about war moves, right? Because we are in wartime with the deep state enemy. So yeah, it's all like in military moves at this point. And here we've got the Page of Pentacles here. So that would be bringing it out, looks like January. So timing wise, I asked for this last card to give us a time. When do you think they'll nail that finally? Looks like January or the next Earth sign month at the beginning of it. That would be late December, so Capricorn, early January, and or all the way through January till the 20th. So from the 20th of December or the 21st, it depends on the year, all the way to the 20 or the 21st of January. That's Capricorn time. So in that time, it looks like is the time frame. And here, and and what I mean when I say that is sometime between now and then. I feel like by then we've already had that information out, and it's still a debate when exactly they're going to present it. Now we've got the Page of Cups here and the Emperor. So the Page is a surprise move, or so it feels like they have a surprise. They want to surprise people with information. So maybe it isn't the Brunson case, or it's the Brunson case and something else. I don't know what it is, but it feels like it could be a surprise even to this community, or some of what they have. They've saved the best for a surprise for everybody.
Okay, that's fascinating. Now, maybe leave the cards there. My second question as to that, it kind of ties into it. On one hand, Trump seems to be intervening on some of those lawyers who are trying to bring motions forward to look at the election integrity process. But on the other hand here, it appears, at least from a public perspective, that Tina Peters is still kind of being left out to dry. Of course, she was accused of a data breach. Appears that her intention was also to show that there was something wrong with the election, but the hammer of justice had come down on her pretty hard. So you see the news article from CNN from 3 days ago saying Trump being urged here to intervene in Tina Peters' case. The sources say. So how does that tie in? Why is she still dangling in the wind when the Giulianis of the world now have been pardoned, at least from the federal aspect of what they were accused of? That doesn't change the state level accusations or legal troubles he might be facing. But why is Tina still kind of twisting in the wind outside the tent here, Janine?
I feel like it's under heavy cover what's really happening with her. So I'm not sure she is where they say she is.
Right.
And this is like they're saving something she knows or something about her. They're using her strategically, or the idea of her, part of the theater. So I feel like I wonder if she's even where they say she is.
But my question is, well, maybe we could do another poll on this then, because a lot of the cards are already down there. I want to know the strategy with her then. So what's going on? Are they being, are they asking her to be a martyr a little bit longer here so that more people have, bring attention to that here as they're asking for Trump to intervene? What's going on?
Okay.
Somebody's asking, is JC having connection issues? No, we are not, but Mercury retrograde in full effect all week here. I've got people telling me that Rumble is going on and off. And so if you're having trouble on the Rumble feed, depending on your distributed server location, maybe try the X. We're also live on X here tonight. Do apologize for that, but yeah, it's been happening here in the last couple of days, on and off. And Lance Wildwood, yeah, Wildwood. So remember to hit the like button. Thank you, appreciate that. Speaking of that, while Janine pulls the cards here tonight, we are giving away a beautiful pyramid here also from Carlo at ascensionorganize.com. There, if you use the coupon code Beyond Mystic, you'll get 10% off here. And right now, the new beginner series designs are also on sale there. So you want to check that out. We'll be giving away this pyramid, the Understanding the Beginner series collection here later tonight. So pay attention to all the words, the dates, everything we're talking about. You might be the lucky winner later this evening. And while we're at it as well, see if I can have it here on the poster. I thought I had it on the screen. I'll come back to that in a second then. So Janine, going back to Tina Peters, what's the strategy with her right now? What's happening behind the scenes really?
Well, they want to change public opinion somehow with her.
Okay.
So kind of for the normies, maybe public opinion about, like they want those normies to be asking why she's in prison. And like it would be obvious 5 years ago or whatever, because they would just take it for granted. It was whatever the mainstream media told us. Right. But by now, with all that strengthening, I feel like people might be asking questions. Also, I feel like they might play out something where she's ill or in trouble with her health or somehow hurt, maybe hurt in prison or something. I feel like they could play something out for us that could put her in harm's way, or she gets a threat or something. That just feels like that'll be played out in the public. But in actual fact, I don't think she's where they say she is. So I think they're waiting. And then there's also something going to come out before they let her out of prison or before they make their move with her in the public eye. Something else, that thing that I was talking about, has to come out. So they've got a timeline they want to use. So she's part of the theater, it looks like.
Part of the theater. Okay. So martyr in a way, but only in the public facing way, not necessarily in reality. It's part of a strategy is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll keep our eye on that as we go forward. Something else, part of the theater, as you just said, Janine, we have to, so many emails on this again. I don't know about you, but I'm getting long in the tooth with this whole story. I'm still very much on the side of releasing the information and bringing those who are guilty to some type of justice. That's not what we're long in the tooth about. But we're long in the tooth about, at least me and Janine, you can speak for yourself, about not having a resolve on this. Having the gaslighting, the list exists, it doesn't exist, Trump's on the list, he's not on the list, Elon Musk says Trump's on the list, like all this stuff we've been treated to in the last year is almost maddening. And here again, it's starting. So just as Trump is now pardoning Giuliani and others here, suggesting that they're going to make a move on the election integrity front of 2020, we're seeing now the counterpart of perhaps the deep state. Oh, don't talk about that because we're going to talk about Epstein and, throw some more mud out there to really muddy the waters and piss everybody off. So if you haven't seen this in the last couple of days, guys, breaking news, House Democrats released emails in which Jeffrey Epstein alleged that Donald Trump knew of the convicted sex offender's conduct and spent hours, quote unquote, at his residence. Top of that here, they're saying Epstein emails state that Donald Trump spent hours with an underage victim at Epstein House. This is from TMZ reporting as well. So we kind of looked at this again the other day, but let's go back here for the public at large. what's being played out here? Is it really a tit for tat here on perhaps election integrity, on perhaps, so I want to say fraud. We could talk about fraud, but we could also talk about sedition. We could talk about, what's that other word I'm looking for, Janine? Treason, right? So if you're looking at treason, sedition, election steal and all that, a lot of people are facing very, very serious crimes here. And as that perhaps is being saber rattled by Trump and some of these latest pardons, is it normal here that we're seeing this counterpart here in the news to really distract us from all of that? And that's why, again, this Epstein stuff, even though they're not releasing any information, they're just giving us more of the tit for tat stuff here. What's going on with the strategy?
I feel like it's a war move. Notice that all of these are minor arcanas. So we don't have major arcanas. So you need to notice that right away. Oh, there's one major arcana, and it's the one that talks about the theater. Okay, so it's there's a deep fake card here. Okay, and then there's this Page of Pentacles, so some truth. So they must have something saying something like that. Okay, so they got something like that, but they might have mixed a couple of different sentences to get that, right? So it feels like a war move where they're using like theater or some kind of fakery. So we need to be careful because it feels like it turns into, it doesn't go anywhere. Okay, here's the outcome of it. Okay, so with careful looking at it, it feels like it just disrupts things for a little while. 2 5s it's a little setback, but it's not a major setback. So it doesn't look like they have anything actual. So they must have fooled around with the words, just like BBC did, fooled around with the wording. Somehow it's going to get not really go anywhere is what I'm getting.
Okay. So in the viewer segment or the viewer question segment, we recorded on pay-per-view today at 3 p.m. One of our viewers was asking, hey, are we going to see news here, actual news and new evidence come out? I believe they were asking in the next 2 weeks or in the month of November. And your poll today on that was, no, absolutely not. They're still stalling here. Can you do a clarifier on what you see now on the strategy they're being used, whether or not they're going to kick into gear maybe later in December or January, or is this going to be stalled again and play it out for quite some time? What can we expect?
So we've got, the play out feels like it's a lot more people's eyes on. And everybody wants that. So even the people bringing up, so this is going to be interesting. So try to follow with me here. Okay. Even the people bringing up the Epstein thing looks like it's White Hat Alliance. So everyone's read in. So what appears to be the Democrats bringing this up, or even the BBC, whoever's putting it out there, I feel like it was actually they're capitulated and or part of the team here. So they're doing it on purpose to bring a lot more eyeballs over here. So when they do clear things up, they got all the normies looking too, because otherwise the normies have been ignoring it, especially the Trump haters. They've been ignoring it, but now all of a sudden Trump might be involved. So that gives everybody, we got to go look at that. You know, looky-loos are all over there looking at Trump go down. And then it turns out it looks like they just got a plan to, you know, they got everybody watching and they'll show you it's a nothing burger. So it's like, okay. I feel like they're pulling a fast one here and they're doing it from within their own ranks.
Okay. All right. I'm not hearing stuff I want to hear in that. I was hoping again for this to be resolved with you and I mean, we've been looking at this for years now, and we're still here, kind of playing out this long, drawn-out game. It's very frustrating. Yeah. So we feel for the audience, guys. We absolutely do. Guys, we are 3 days away for the end of the coupon here for the celebrating the anniversary of discovery of C60. And for that, we have a special discount made available here to the Beyond Mystic audience. I want to bring up Ken Schwartz to explain here what he's got going for you guys here. So listen to Ken Schwartz from C60 Purple Power.
Hey, Wacky Woo family, it's Ken from C60 Power. Can you believe it? It's been 40 years since the discovery of carbon-60, one of the most beneficial antioxidants known. And to celebrate this fact, we've created a discovery package where you can experience the amazing health benefits of this molecule for yourself. Just click on the link with the show notes below so you can get your C60. Feel the transformation in energy, mental clarity, and libido with carbon-60. So here's the 40 years of C60 and better health with C60 Power.
Thank you, Mr. Ken Schwartz, C60 Purple Power, guys. Check it out. I'm going to bring up the coupon code in just a second here. But you know what's interesting in this discovery? Originally, they were doing lethal dose testing in order to determine how much of this, if ingested, would kill a human. So they started doing this with mice test here 40 years ago. And they discovered that there was, in fact, no lethal dose of C60, that the mice who had the higher doses of C60 were actually living longer and longer than their prescribed time, because some of these test mice have a predetermined lifespan. And then they realized, oh my God, this has immense health benefits across the board. So we, the big mice here walking around, of course, this is not an approved cure for humans, but for mice, it seems to have a big benefit. I myself have been on it for quite some years too, and he's right about the mental clarity. I remember programming a lot in the early days of Beyond Mystic, being late at night on the website and using C60. I remember the speed at which I used to program when I was in my 20s. So yes, mental clarity is a big thing. Janine also had huge benefits with her eye, what she called floaties at the time here. She was getting fog spots in her eye, and within a couple of months of using C60, anecdotally also, that had went away. And since then, that hasn't come back, that condition for your eyes, Janine. So yeah, guys, check it out, C60. Let me bring up the coupon code for you guys as well here. There's a package brought to you guys again here by Ken Schwartz. So in it here, you have the 4-ounce C60 Power avocado oil. I also have the sugar-free gummies. Those are easy. Those are the ones I take in the morning now. And also the skin care routine, also removing a lot of those blemishes and wrinkles that come with time. C60 might help you out here, rejuvenate your body as well. Again, removing the oxidative stress from your body. So check it out. C60 Purple Power. Again, the links are in the description box below. This is a normal bundle here, is worth $280, on sale now for $199. So check it out, and thank you, Mr. Ken Schwartz. Okay, let's go back to the slide deck here. This is absolutely atrocious, appalling, hard to swallow. We talked about the hard to swallow fake meat earlier today, but hard to swallow news. It's coming out now during the Sarajevo conflict that rich people, tourists, as they're calling it, sniper tourists here, were allegedly paying up to $90,000 to shoot civilians, including kids here. This is absolutely hard to digest because on one hand, we've been looking at this from the royals' point of view, the hunting parties. We've seen movies on this on TV, and it kind of felt like maybe this was segregated or limited to perhaps those royal bloodlines. Here, what we're being told is, no, maybe Hollywood types, a whole bunch of people with money here, were using this conflict to just have fun and kill some humans. So this seems to pervert even faster some of this. I don't even know if you can call them human at this point, to be wanting to use this as an adrenaline kind of high. But at any rate, there appears to be truth to it. When you pulled on it the other day, Janine, it was, yeah, it's part of it, but it was also part of something else in disclosure here. And so I want to get to that here tonight too, because in the last number of years, we've seen a lot of our community members say, oh, enough with this movie already. Just tell us, we're ready to hear the truth. We just need to move on. And you and I often, both personally from our point of view, but also from the card, say, watch what you wish for, right? You might not be actually ready to hear some of these things. In my view, this is one of them. This is, again, very difficult to swallow and to stomach. But let's see. I want to see where this leads, Janine. We have the new movie that just came out about the Nuremberg trials with Russell Crowe. We have Bill Gates, who just said now that global warming is not really a thing anymore. We're getting more and more of these peer-reviewed studies now that are suggesting that a lot of damage was done by these mRNA vaccinations. So it appears that we're going towards some type of rolling schedule or rollout of justice coming around. And this is just one angle that they're going to add to this whole nightmare. When this starts, it seems like it's going to steamroll through humanity. So can you look at that in that context? Here, the Sarajevo conflict, these Hollywood snipers here paying a lot of money apparently to go on this playground and have some fun. Where does that lead to? What's the timeline to perhaps these justice rollout schemes here that might be planned for humanity?
I think they're just getting started on the horrific things. They still got to take people on visuals down the tunnels and just have a look at what's going on over there, down there. Surrender to, this is the ugly part that I was getting earlier today. Forget what question it was, but I was getting that, it was going to be next year. We looked at the whole next year, and a big theme of next year was going to be just people sickened by knowing all of this stuff. So they are being careful for a reason. So here we've got the Queen of Swords here. So it's going to be brutal when this stuff comes out. Here we've got the Hanged Man. So they're really holding back. So both these cards are holding back. You're just getting little bits. We're just getting, and that's this community. Can you imagine how the normies are going to feel? Okay. Like it feels like this is a level of preparation. And it's going to get a lot worse. It's going to just expect this, ongoing, weekly stuff coming out.
In the episode from earlier today, somebody asked us to pull on 2026. Cliff High had a post today, something to the effect that 2026 would make us question why the hell we wanted to survive 2025 or something like that. And when you pulled on that, it appeared that it was like a huge, continuous feed of just learning about some of these very difficult subjects. So that was at least part of the discomfort of 2026 in your poll there. Okay, and do you see that this begins a rollout here in 2025, or is this still kind of January, February timeframe here for all of this, similar to the election readiness stuff there coming out on that previous poll? What do you see for timing?
I'm thinking 3 to 6 months.
Okay, so into next year still, 2026. Bill and Deb, thank you so much for the comment. I appreciate that. These past few years of this journey would have been horrible if not for you, JC and Janine, for giving us insights and encouragement. Thank you so very much, JC and Janine. You guys rock. Thank you, Bill and Deb. And thank you to all of you who supported us, making it possible for us to do this work, even though we were kicked around, kicked off YouTube, demonetized, made fools of on Patreon, telling everybody that we were inciting violence. All of that, of course, is slowly but surely being corrected. As you know, YouTube and Google came out with the lawsuit against Trump the other day, or a month and a half or 2 months ago, the $25 million lawsuit suggesting that it was in fact wrong of them to delete all of these truthers in the last 5 years, and that they were doing so on behest of the Biden administration and without any due process. And they were asking us to come back to YouTube. Of course, if you haven't seen Janine for a while, you might know that she just received her Sending Ravens channel back. It's now up and running here on YouTube. But we're still hoping for the Tarot by Janine, and we're still hoping for the 2 previous Beyond Mystic channels coming up. I know that Jason and Four, my co-host often on the Wacky Woo, just got his YouTube channel back as well. So things are moving along there, and that's interesting because as much as what you're pulling in the card suggests here that we are going to be treated to more of this bad news and perhaps some justice coming out in 2026, it kind of makes sense that we need more of the Janines, JCs, JSIP4, and all these guys reporting on that here in Normieland on YouTube, as opposed to these echo chambers that we can call them of Rumble, BitChute, and other platforms that the normies really aren't interested in. So it's going to be a fascinating time in 2026. And again, big thank you to all of you guys supporting us there, supporting Janine on tarotbyjanine.com. So also, of course, on pay-per-view here at beyondmystic.net. And again, in recognition for that, we're going to be giving away a beautiful pyramid here a little bit later into the show. Janine, some weird news, and I kind of looked at this. You know how the Ozempic guy, kind of one of the CEOs, passed out in Trump's office the other day? We're getting all these bad reports of people having blindness after Ozempic and all these crazy things and all the adverse effect of the mRNAs. It's everywhere to see. I mean, you have to be living under the rock to not see that big pharma is not serving us well. There's all these crazy things, right? It's all about in my humble opinion, it's always all about the money. And really, they try to cause damage to be able to sell you other things to repair the damage they cause. And again, my humble opinion. But it seems that people are not learning. I saw this the other day, Shadow Vezor reposting this. Will people actually take the obesity vaccine? This is the New York Post reporting. Obesity vaccine could make us immune to gaining weight from high-fat, high-sugar diet. Eat as much as you want. Just take this vaccine and you'll be fine. Have people learned nothing over the last couple of years? I thought it was The Onion originally. I went back. I'm like, no, they're introducing literally Albert Bourla, I think he was on the news also talking about this. What the hell is this story all about, Janine? Like, pull on what's the psyop behind this one? Is it just still big pharma doing their thing, trying to make more money and, get to the gullible people, or trying to, I don't know. How about just like a lifestyle change, maybe diet change, a little bit of exercise, walking outside a little bit will do you much better than any vaccine in the history of these vaccine manufacturers. But what the hell is all this about? A big walk of shame thing? Are they setting them up for a big failure with this one?
Yeah. And
are
beyond
they replacing the Ozempic with this one all of a sudden? What's going on?
like a lot of the weight gain and holding on to it could also be emotional.
Stress? Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And traumas, holding on to traumas and abuses and not wanting to be seen. So you're covering yourself in fat. That's a big thing with sexually abused children. They become that's one thing that can happen with them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see. So we're looking at, is that something? Okay, this card's like gossip and innuendo. I feel like this was created as like part of the theater. I think we got some theater going on here. And I think they're bringing this out, maybe you could say a test bubble or whatever you call those. But I feel like it's more just seeing what you're going to comment on this. Just like almost like making fun of how absurd it is.
Uh-huh.
Like this feels like whoever put it out there is written in with, or at least in cahoots with, White Hat Alliance, or what it was approved by them. Okay, and this is a gossip and innuendo, so I don't think they're actually putting something out. The thing itself comes up as gossip and innuendo. We've got the Justice card in the middle. I think they're also preparing us for when we find out what's actually happened to the head people that invented originally this stuff, like the things that like, I feel like if they're talking about it finally now and bringing it to the public eye and having this guy drop in Trump's office, it's already, they've dealt with these guys. they've been doing this where they deal with them in the background and then publicly you see them going down.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what that looks like. They're already gone down, but a lot of people need to be like, for a lot of people, it's going to be really emotional to let go of the addiction they have to big pharma and to just taking a pill when they could change their, like, for instance, I was having a lot of joint pain, etc. And I was blaming it on, well, my whole family has arthritis. So, okay. And then I watched this video with this Australian woman. I can't remember her name. She's really well known anyway in Australia. And I bet you guys will know in the comments who I'm talking about. And she did this video on sleep. So she talks about getting to sleep by, say, 8 instead of later, and then getting really good sleep between 8 or 9 and 2 a.m. And natural things kick in, including pain, sort of almost like pain meds, but your body makes them instead of taking pain meds. And of course, ever since it came out how bad Tylenol and other things that you think are safe, you assume they are, you even give them to children and everything, and people gobble them literally like daily. I know people that daily take 2. And sometimes when I was in a lot of pain, I was too. And then once I found that out, I absolutely, they're not even in the medicine cabinet anymore. And I tried this thing for the last couple of nights. Actually, a few nights ago, I was trying it for 2 nights in a row. And I put my phone in another room, because for years I had it right by my bed, turned on in case the kids called if they were out partying and maybe they needed a ride home or something. And I've not that excuse for years. So it's like phone goes in the other room. And that's what she said to do. And also get to sleep between these hours. And lo and behold, pain-free 2 days straight after those. So I had really good sleep between those hours. I did get up really early those days. So today even I got up at 4 a.m. but then I was going to bed at 8. So it's like, what do you think? Right? Of course. Okay. But I got a lot of done. I've done so many videos today, and pain-free. Like, so now I'm day 3 pain-free. So instead of, going these routes, the big pharma routes and just popping pills, people have to think about other ways to do things. Changing lifestyle, like you said, changing what you're eating, and then add a few other changes.
Oh, for sure.
Within insight, like this woman had.
Dr. Barbara O'Neill?
Yep.
Yeah, there you go. I think there was a typo there, but thank you, Brenda. I appreciate that. Okay, very good. That's great news. And Janine, I thought it was funny because I was up early this morning too, and I was like 7 or 7:30, and you were texting me. I'm like, wait, Janine, it's like 4 a.m. in the morning over here. Why are you up? I went to bed early. She's like, get all this energy. Anyways, all right, that's good news. Guys, this was the post from Cliff High earlier today. 2026 will make you question why you tried so hard to survive 2025. Again, if you hadn't watched the show I did with the woo-woo dude, Richard and Joe, a little while back, in one of his visions, Richard was saying that Christmas was going to be tough here. And he had this vision of this old guy kind of like, oh, Merry Christmas, suggesting it was kind of weird just before Christmas. We pulled on that in the viewer questions show, and we didn't see that for this Christmas. We actually saw more positive outbeat cards in the background. So it could still be that in the news or weird stuff could be happening, but from a background perspective, it still kind of looked positive for humanity. Am I saying that right, Janine? Recapping that right?
Yeah, it felt like the universe says, take advantage of this Christmas. It could be one of the last Christmases, anything like the past. So there were good things about, take what you liked about it, leave behind. And I've done that for years now. I've left behind. Every year I leave some of the things that aren't necessary behind, that really don't make sense to me or my family. And so just keep what you really love about it, because the more we find out about organized religion, the more we find out about aliens, the more we find out about history's a lie, the more, like, we'll be dropping some of these traditions at Christmas. You know what I mean? And I feel like even some of the movies we used to watch, like we're not going to watch those people anymore. Like I'd always watch Tom Hanks movies around Christmas. It's like, not anymore. No thanks. You. Right. So it's like, yeah, there's just so many things I'm changing, and we need to just really respect that we could be on our last Christmas that looks anything like our past lives, and we're moving into a whole new future. And some of it'll be hard, but some of it'll be amazing. So we have to recreate ourselves going forward, recreate our traditions, create our own traditions.
Yeah. All right. Somebody says F Tom Hanks. Yes. Okay. I see where you're going with that. Okay, Janine, next segment. And yeah, TZ says, yeah, our last chance to have an enjoyable traditional Christmas ? Yeah, that's kind of what the poll
Kind
was
of like that. Yeah.
Kind of like that. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Okay, next up, Robert Fife, CTV News. Can find him on Twitter. He's suggesting here in his article on the Globe and Mail, CSIS director warns China and Russia agents are active in Canada. CSIS, of course, stands for Canadian Security Intelligence Services. What the hell's going on, Janine? Remember 2-3 months ago, there was this oil tycoon guy who was saying that their algos went berserk in July, and then suggested that, hey, it looks like we're going to war maybe in December with Russia and China. Now we're being told here by mainstream news that Russian and Chinese agents are active here in Canada. Propaganda, Janine? It's real? What's going on? What's your poll?
Remember years ago, that's all they'd talk about was all these Chinese military in Canada.
Training here in Canada, yeah.
And we went looking for them literally in the places they said. It made no sense.
Yep.
Anyway.
Yeah, and a lot of that reporting at the time, and there could have been some, outlier events, but what people were reporting as Chinese troops training here in Canada were in fact sanctioned cold weather warfare practices or drills. Canada hosts many countries every year. They do these exchange training programs because we have the cold weather, of course. So a lot of pictures from that were taken to suggest that, the Chinese were invading Canada and working behind the scenes. So there might have been outlier events, but some of those pictures had been doctored or used or misappropriately used in some of those contexts. So here, Janine, going back to this current story, Russia and Chinese agents active on Canadian soil. What's going on?
I wonder if they're prepping up because we will see military, or that is a potential in the war effort here, in what's going on behind the scenes in the war. So maybe they're just putting out stories in case we see more military, and we might attribute it to, they're prepping for something. This doesn't look like it turns into, what that was implying, I guess. It's not looking like it's turning into that. This card is a soft yes, but it's for how the normies see it. So some normies saw that, and that story was for them.
Okay.
So I'm not sure why. I mean, just to get them on the radar that maybe that's why they're seeing more military. I don't know. Or even just to get them moving over there. But that story wasn't necessarily for us, it looks like. I'm not seeing that as what it develops into. Now, this is interesting. We got the Hermit in the near future. So the Hermit is an alliance card, but can also be good alien type energies. Okay, so good alien energies. And we got military. We've got the sun. So energies coming from the sun. Interesting that this is a worrisome card. And usually these two cards together would be good, but then throw this in. It gives us a little different slant on it. Okay, so energies coming from the sun and alien and something around the sun and aliens. Okay, and so I feel like we're more likely to move into a whole different thing that involves aliens, activity with the sun, and some worrisome things maybe with those in some of the titles or some of the news stories. That'll be quite worrisome, but I don't necessarily see that developing into literally having war with Russia and China.
Well, yeah, I spoke to Cliff about this maybe a month or two ago, and he was saying, yeah, I don't think it's Russia or China. I think these algos are just misreading because they're not focused necessarily outwardly with some of their data points. And he was suggesting that maybe the military here and some of these algos were being triggered by the military making moves right now to address 3i Atlas. Here, 3i Atlas is effing with you in the way that it's messing also with the sun question mark. So that kind of ties into what you're saying here. There's something happening where the sun's reacting to this new visitor here and perhaps kicking up a storm here for humanity. We've pulled on this quite a few times already in the last 2-3 weeks. There appears to be some type of a positive effect to all of this, to where we're getting energetic upgrades from the solar flares or solar activity that we're seeing now. And somebody was asking earlier today whether or not those same positive energy effect that could be hurtling humanity towards a higher state of being or consciousness, whether that was also somehow attacking the negative aspects on the planet. They were talking about demonic possession, parasites, and stuff like that. And in your read today, you said something to the effect that not necessarily directly, but in a way, it was changing the frequency on the planet as to, what did I say it was? Souring the milk, so to speak, so that these demonic or negatives wouldn't be feeding on us as much anymore, or wouldn't be, we wouldn't be palatable to them anymore moving forward. Do you want to just touch on that quickly?
I got a big exit. They were like wanting to get the heck out of here the more it, as the energy rises and we change our frequency, we don't taste good to them. We're not the louche they wanted.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah. Armando Branco is saying, where the F is Uncle Cliff? Uncle Cliff is writing a book. He's busy, but you can still see him on Twitter. He's on there all the time. And last couple of days also on Substack. He's still very prolific. So go check him out there. And I'm excited to see his new book when it comes out. So check it out. I think he's Cliff_High on Twitter, if you don't know already. Okay, next up, let me go back to my news feed here and see if we can get to the next news story. Canadian story here too. Interesting maybe for you guys politically across our borders. But this gentleman here, the MP, Member of Parliament, Chris D'Entremont, has crossed the floor here a couple of days ago, joining the Liberal Party. This was just as the Liberal parties were putting up their first budget under Mark Carney. An atrocious budget by any means, a stinker. Everybody agrees, even the mainstream news agrees. He's getting a lot of backlash here. He was booed at this Remembrance Day ceremony as well. But yet, as this is happening, and as people are booing this guy for just a couple of months ago, saying that it was inhumane for the Liberals to keep pushing their policies that was creating such food inflation prices in Canada and home inflation prices. He was saying it's inhumane towards Canadians what the Liberals are doing. Just a couple of months later, I'll cross the floor and go join the Liberals. So this is not going too well in Canada, and people are responding here, I think, accordingly, by suggesting that they're calling his bullshit for what it is here. So he seems to be one of those flip-flop, turncoat politicians here. That is the story, but yet most people, or mainstream news, are concentrating on this guy. So instead of telling us how bad the budget really is and how poor Canadians are really going to be because of this budget, and how there is no relief for Canadians in this budget, other than perhaps maybe in 4 or 5 years after all of this deficit spending to supposedly create investment in Canada might work. There's nothing right now for the people in trouble, not paying their credit cards, not being able to put food on the table or paying their rent. But yet the mainstream media, instead of talking about the budget, or talking about this guy who crossed the floor, who just a couple of months ago was very, very negative against the Liberals, they still want to attack Pierre Poilievre here for losing a candidate to the Liberals. They're saying that Pierre can't handle his leadership, and people are, he's in charge of a sinking ship and all these things. And he did really well today too. So it's just hilarious to see our mainstream news still attacking this guy and giving Mark Carney and his really bad budget a free pass. Interesting. But I want to play this quick clip from Pierre Poilievre. You can see he's trying to paint the CBC in the same light as Trump is painting the BBC also in this particular clip. We'll play the clip, and then I want to ask you, does he have right now, what's in the cards for Pierre Poilievre? Does he have the wherewithal to get through this bump to where not only is he fighting the Liberal Party, but he's actually fighting state-funded media on a day-to-day basis in a way that, in my opinion, is absolutely unfair here. Our media should be fair arbiters of the truth, and they should be giving every political party the same respect and the same type of tough questioning. But that's not what I'm seeing here, and I'm a little bit disappointed. So let me just change decks because I want to bring the audio for the audience members here to see Pierre here. Seems to be, as Mr. Sunshine was suggesting, firing on all cylinders back in the game here. But I want to have you guys' take on this. Hold on, this is the one. Make sure this is right here so you guys can hear. Okay, so yes. Well, actually, this is not Mr. Sunshine, but Mr. Sunshine also commented on this. He says he's firing on all cylinders and is now insanely skilled at it. Yes, Pierre Poilievre is a very good communicator. Let's listen to the clip.
CTV, you lost 2 MPs the week of the budget. One cited your leadership as a reason for leaving.
I know it's hard to hear. The reporter is far in the background, and he's asking Pierre Poilievre here about the defection in his party to the Liberal Party.
I want to put Carney and the Liberals to the side here, just as you personally.
Of course you do.
Does this say anything about your leadership? Have you maybe reflected on your leadership style moving forward?
No, my plan is to continue to lead, to be the only leader in the country that's fighting for an affordable Canada, where our people who work hard can afford a home and food. That is my agenda. And I will just quote Mr. d'Entremont when he speaks about Mark Carney. He says, after 6 months under a new prime minister who promised financial discipline, Canadians are still waiting. He said that he would be judged by the cost of groceries at the store. Well, Canadians are judging him, and they are not impressed. He said this only a few months ago. Since the Liberals came to power, food prices are up 40%. We have heard it many times here today. It is deliberate and it is unacceptable. It is inhumane, said Mr. d'Entremont, for a G7 country. So he said that Liberal food price inflation under Mark Carney was inhumane.
And now he's supporting the Liberal Party. So that's Pierre there trying to fight back the CBC rhetoric, which of course is attacking him as opposed to attacking this ugly budget that was just presented by the Liberal Party. Question here for you, Janine. What's in the cards for Pierre moving forward? Can he withstand some of this external pressure from mainstream news? Perhaps some of the pressure inside his party too. There are some rumblings still. Some people might be a little bit disappointed that he was attacking so hard the RCMP, and that brought even more scrutiny from mainstream news on the opposition party, as maybe they didn't want it. So what's up with Pierre here?
Well, he does kind of look like he's on his game here just recently.
Mm-hmm.
I know that hasn't always been the case, and that he does have a lot. Like, I feel like they're really working hard, whoever they are and whatever is going on in politics in Canada. It's like it's all going really against him, really. He's got an uphill battle, it looks like. Now we've got the Knight of Pentacles here. So people are looking at him with caution. So something's creating them to not trust him. Maybe things that were brought up about his past, which is pretty rich considering Carney and his past. Horrifying, and Trudeau's past. I mean, somehow this guy really triggers people with his past. So that's interesting. And they're being very cautious with him. You know how sometimes you pick somebody and it's easier to not like them than somebody else? I guess maybe that's what's going on with Canadians. I mean, I don't know, right? Okay, so here we've got the death card here. I don't think he really, like, you're asking what's going on in his politics. I feel like he gets passed over, and somehow he never really goes all the way to the finish line where he, gets that golden,
So, in practical terms, that means that at some point here, he's not the leader of the official opposition. He doesn't make it to prime minister, is what you're saying.
Yeah. Interesting. It looks like a woman ends up the next prime minister. And I've got that lots of times. And or the next leader, maybe it's not in the same way that the party is now and the two parties are now. I don't know how it works, but it looks like there's a female. And I've got that years ago even. I got there'd be a female that would be important.
Could it be Michelle Rempel? Because I was having this conversation just 2-3 days ago about the Conservative Party. Again, the news was making all this drama that Pierre maybe couldn't hold his cabinet together. And in that conversation with some other adults in the room, I said, yeah, but if not Pierre, who? Like, who would they bring up in the ranks? Andrew Scheer is good, but he's been tried before and didn't really work also. I don't think Canadians would give him a second chance. And we don't have like superstar power like a Trump, like a Kevin O'Leary might come in, but he has a lot of baggage too. Like if they were going to choose somebody outside of politics to come in. But what about Michelle Rempel? She might fit the bill here to that woman taking the leadership.
Very strange. I just got an ace, so
Wow.
I don't know. I'll just say right now the cards say that's a big possibility with that big ace.
That's interesting. Well,
I've never even heard of her.
Wow.
Shows you how much I'm paying attention to Canadian politics. Just so gets on my nerves because just even looking at Carney, it makes I can't do it. I can't even look at him.
Michelle's been there a while. I like her style, and maybe it's her turn. I don't know. A lot of people in the chat are also saying maybe Leslie Lewis, also a good profile there. That could work as well. But you got an ace there on Rempel, so that's interesting. Okay, can you do a clarifier there? How long does Pierre Poilievre still have in this role? Are we talking months, years? Because if the Liberals just now in the next couple of days or so get a majority with these floor crossings, for example, that means that Carney could still be there for another 4 years or so, or just under 4 years. Does Pierre leave at this point, or does he stay for 4 years and then they change the leader for the next election? Or do you see that even faster?
I'm thinking in the next 4, and that could be weeks or months.
So that's not far. Wow.
It could be done. Yeah, and this also could indicate the next water sign, which is, I guess that would be Pisces. And the time of Pisces kind of
March.
Adds up to 4 months, doesn't it?
Yeah. February, March, that time frame. Interesting. JTAR, I love it when JC looks to the side and you can see the wheels turning as he's putting things together. This is a live show, guys, and interesting. All right, JC's the master of asking questions. I try, and Janine, of course, is the master of giving us clarity on all this crazy world of us. We make a good team together. Thank you guys for all those comments. Okay, are we here now to give away a pyramid? Yes, so let's look at this Ascension Organite Pyramid. The Understanding is the name of this beginner series. We're going to give this beautiful gem here tonight to one of you guys in the live chat. Janine, somebody's asking Danielle Smith. Well, Danielle Smith right now is a premier in provincial politics, and I don't see right now in her trajectory her doing the jump right away to federal politics. I don't see it, at least not in the next 4 months. She still has her eye on the ball here in Alberta. So don't take her, but she could eventually, maybe in 10 years, come back and take a run at the feds. Now, okay, so this pyramid, Janine, a question for the audience members. What do you have?
Well, it's kind of a funny one. I thought it'd be fun if I asked. So a lot of people, I was reading along the sides with the comments that they've watched my Sending Ravens. And today I just put out a little short video, 4 minutes, and I took people on a walk in a campground, and it was called, in 2 words, the something something. The
The
2
something,
words.
something, the blank blank.
The blank blank. What was it? The what campground.
The what?
And I took you to the beach, right?
So that's on Tending Ravens. Okay, so if you want to write it on the side here, in the meantime, while we wait for that to populate, guys, please do go and check out tarotbyjanine.com. Subscription-based news service here. Janine gives you all the news here on a weekly basis. She also does the monthly zodiac spread for you guys for about the price of a cup of coffee. You can support Janine here in her work. She's still, although she got one YouTube channel back, still demonetized. And your support here at Tarot by Janine makes it possible for her to do these free shows here on Rumble and also on YouTube. All right, so let's go back to the Rumble feed. Janine, let me know when you want me to stop.
Wow, lots of people watched it.
Yeah.
Stop.
Stop. My cursor is on give me the truth. 1, 2, 3. Isn't that appropriate? Yes, congratulations. Misty Meadows is the answer we were looking for. Give me the truth. 1, 2, 3. If you go to beyondmystic.net, top of the page, hit that about section there, fill out the tech support form. Let us know you're the winner tonight, and we'll get Carla to send out this beautiful pyramid to you guys. While you're there, also check out the amazing soaps from Aline at floralinfarm.ca. Coupon code there, BM10. We'll give you 10% off of these amazing soaps. And she also has a brand new holiday season collection. So check it out at floralinfarm.ca. All right, Janine, I still have quite a few news articles. It's crazy tonight. Where are we? Do we have time for one more? No, we're already past the 9 o'clock. Why don't we do how to navigate here the next 2 weeks in November? What's in front of us, and what do we need to know, and how can we navigate all this? It seems weird, and we're being hit by this dread energy. You talked about this on the show the other day. The sun's acting up, the moon's acting up. Everything feels kind of like unnerving, I think, is the way our viewers are describing it here in the last couple of days. How do we navigate this all here in the next week or so, Janine?
Yeah, it's like a big mixed bag of tricks. Like, I feel like I'm learning new things. I'm learning to like sleep patterns, how they work. Like I'm really feeling like I'm making headway there. But then that dread came back, where it felt like from outside forces trying to force dread into me. And I was like having to make boundaries again. So it's like, whoa, it's so much going on. We have to keep on our toes for sure.
Hey, thank you so much. I just saw, I don't see the telemetry when I'm here in StreamYard. So somebody just sent in the chat, hey, JC, you just got $100 donation. So I'm like, where is it? I'm trying to look. So I just looked at the Rumble chat from that particular window. Phil Christopher, $100. Hello, JC and Janine. Will we see ET soon? Okay. I'll get to that, Phil Christopher, and thank you so much for that donation. That's very, very generous and kind of you. So we'll do that next. Right now, we're looking at how to navigate perhaps this dread, this weird energy everybody's feeling. And while Janine's pulling on that answer, CAW is asking JC, when and where is the next expo? By expo, I believe she means Beyond Mystic Convention. It appears it's going to be the first or second week of October of next year in Orlando, Florida. That's what we're landing on. We're looking at 3 or 4 venues right now to choose the venue. So we don't have that locked down yet. But as that continues to unfold, we will keep you up to speed on that. And we might have some more announcement here, probably starting in January or February here in just a month or so for you guys on that. So thank you for that question. Janine, navigating the next couple of weeks here, what do you see?
Yeah. So people will feel like mentally there's a lot of stress around. Don't forget that we are in a retrograde, and look that word up if you don't know what I'm talking about. Astrologically, a retrograde, which is a stressful kind of energy anyway. So you're going to need a sense of humor with that and detachment, because if anything could go wrong, it will go wrong with your electronics and stuff. Like, I've been having nonstop weird fidgety things with my, not just anything electric, but also my Wi-Fi. Which is Starlink. So it's been really weird and off and on. Okay, so that trust me, you'll notice, like every year close to Christmas, there's been a big retrograde. Anyway, so just keep in mind that things externally could be going wrong as well, and it's got nothing to do with you, so don't take it personally. Okay, and see this 10 here? So the 10, just the letting go of like watch being used for loosh. And we've been talking about this, Jean-Claude and I, and with that whole ostrich situation and all the psyop kind of stuff that's been coming down the pipe. Be very careful that you give something a few days and let some really good podcasters out there lead you to the truth of things, because just what you first hear and just because somebody said doesn't make it true. Okay, so be careful, and because break illusions by just giving things time, and also intuitively set it with you and feel and ask yourself, tell me if this is something I need to actually worry about or put my energy. Be discerning about where you're putting your energy, taking good care of yourself, making sure you're not forgetting to feed yourself well. Like if things get overwhelming, go cook a nice meal for yourself or for your family. Like do something loving and kind for yourself and others. Okay, so and treat yourself well. Give yourself some treats, because when things are really bad, sometimes that gets me through a tough day if I give myself some treats. It's like treat yourself like a little toddler. It's okay, Janine.
Yeah.
This really good organic chocolate right now, because I know you're not feeling so good. You know what I mean? Just think of how you'd treat somebody you really loved when they were needy. How would you treat them? Treat yourself like that. Why don't we treat ourselves as good as we treat others? Right? Okay, so here we've got the Wheel of Fortune. Things will change fast, and we have a lot of things coming fast. I feel like Christmas and New Year's is going to be a little bit like a big spin. Okay, and lots of things will change. They'll go from this to that to this, like just like what's been happening with the Epstein files. Trump thinks they're all fake. Oh, now all of a sudden he's in them. Oh, now all of a sudden maybe they'll even bring them out. Like it's not going to make a lot of sense. Like things are going to happen really fast and it'll spin you around. So be more of a like a watcher right now. Otherwise, you're gonna, if you just get in there with the storm of it, it's going to be confusing and it'll spin your head, right? Yeah. So the big thing is discerning and take your time with things. See that Two of Swords? That's the advice there. Stop, wait, sit, feel in yourself. Take yourself on a walk. Today I did take myself on a walk, and I also filmed it for my YouTube. But like do something like that with yourself, okay, and get some quiet time. And again, be good to yourself, and even or a bit of a philanthropist, good to others as well. Like sometimes that makes me feel almost better. Like someone else out there is in even worse shape than you, and maybe find them and somebody in your family and do a kind deed, because that'll take your mind off things.
That's very good advice. I remember my grandfather telling me that when I was a kid. He says, Jean-Claude, when things are going bad, just stop for a moment and look around you. You're always going to see a situation for a person around you that has it way, way worse than you. So, yeah, absolutely. I remember that. I wonder why he got that from, or why he said that, or who had told him that. Perhaps his father too. I don't know. But that was a good advice. Okay, Janine, let's go back to the beautiful donation tonight. Phil Christopher asking us, hello, Jason and Janine. Will we see ET soon? So soon is a little bit open-ended. Let's do the next 6 months. Okay, Janine? Like pull out 6 months. And let's be a little bit more precise. When we see ET, I assume he means publicly, the general public at large. We know it's a fact by that time. Everybody can't deny it. Like ET's here for us. Let's pull it that way. I think that's what he's alluding to.
Wow, that is like an ET card.
ET Alliance card.
And two major arcana, so I'm going to say yes.
Okay.
Okay, we've got the death card there. So it could be a lot different than we expect, though. So the death cards changes things, like as something will never be the same. But the other way you could read it is humanity will never be the same.
Yeah.
Okay, yes. 5. So they've been in this war all along with that card and fighting in the war, but on both sides, I think. So I think what it's saying is the ETs we might see could even be members of the Alliance or somehow have been fighting in the war alongside with us, the ones we're going to see in
Or
the next.
perhaps they're actually already walking in the halls of the Pentagon and the White House.
Yeah, well, this is in the now, so, you know, yeah. Okay, so the near future, we might even find out here, it looks like that they've been working alongside with humans. And I'm not saying all ETs are good, because I think some of them are bad. But I think they're also good ones, and those ones have been working alongside us or fighting alongside. So we've got the Empress and the 5. So the Empress, Earth, grounded, 5. She's of the Earth. I feel like maybe some of the energies we call ETs could actually be from Earth, but there are future selves, so they're going to seem like aliens to us. And that's what I've always thought the Alliance was anyway. So they might seem like ETs because they're a more evolved version of humanity.
Right.
They originated from Earth.
Huh. Fascinating. Or are they here under Earth, inner Earth civilization? Could you see that in the cards?
Well, yeah, Earth's involved for sure. At least in the ones that it's a yes to that will become known to us.
Wow.
Yeah, and this 5 is there'll be a lot of controversy around it. So you're still going to get, people saying it's BS, and there's going to be a lot of controversy.
In your poll earlier today, you were talking about Christmas, this being maybe the last traditional Christmas or ability, or that we would celebrate this differently moving forward after this Christmas. And I prompted you, is that because we're going to find out about ETs and that might change the religions around the world and how we see everything? And you said, well, yeah, it's part of it. Not all of it, but part of it. So here, the fact that we're seeing the ETs in the next 6 months, that was the cards, man, okay, we're in for one hell of a ride. Thank you, Janine. I appreciate the poll. Thank you so much for that beautiful donation, guys, tonight. Thank you for all the lovely comments during the live show. You guys.
Oh, a big old ace. So she was kind of created. Okay, now this is interesting though, with that ace and the 2. So now I'm thinking we got somebody who's capitulated. Now I think she might be doing the work of in this information war we're in. See this card here, she's in cahoots with but not bad guys. So I feel like she came over or was told to you need to get on board with the White Hat Alliance outing of all of this stuff. So I feel like a lot of the things she's doing, looking at these cards here, a lot of the things she's doing is to out maybe how ridiculous and how created her whole thing is. And people like her, right? So it feels like they're using her brand, and she could be doing the walk of shame. And she could also be facing down the road, or at least her family. I mean, I don't know what age group she is, but her family could be facing, some situations. We could ask about that.
Oh, very interesting.
Or something. Yeah, because it looks to me like she's not, or this is 2.0
Mhm.
or even who knows how many they've used. I don't feel like this is the real Greta we're looking at. And I feel like this is background deals. So they've made deals to use her brand, but the people using her brand, the desire is not against humanity. So to me, she likely got capitulated and or brought herself over. It could have even been her idea. Because if you really watch what she's been up to, do you have any current stories like
Mhm.
show everybody what she's been up to? Because
Yeah.
it does make her look so foolish, really.
Yeah, for sure. So as of late, she's been protesting about what's been going on in Gaza. And this is from the Britain is Broken X account, says breaking Greta. I guess this just came out today. Greta Thunberg and crew fake an Israeli drone attack on her Freedom Flotilla. Did you see any clips of that, Janine? The Freedom Flotilla heading for Gaza. It was her, one of the Game of Thrones actors, and some other people.
Yeah.
Greta Thunberg claimed her boat was struck by a drone. However, Tunisian authorities confirmed there was zero drone activity in the area. Turns out someone aboard set off a flare and blamed it on a drone. Another lie added to the long list of Palestinian propaganda. Seems like she's kind of desperate in a way to remain relevant.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, there's only so long you can do a certain kind of shtick, especially as an activist, which is something kind of random to be in the public eye,
Yeah.
right?
Let's have a look maybe at what is this all about? Does this have any real truth to it? Like, or is it like let's watch for things like the Magician card, the Seven of Cups, the Seven of Swords, which would be like let's look for the Psyop card. That's the King of Cups. The Seven of Swords is when they're and I'm not saying this for your benefit because I know you know your cards, but the Seven of Swords, I'm saying it for the viewing audience, is often considered a strategy card. So maybe they're using her strategically, which is that first pulse does suggest, right? So let's have a look.
Right.
But if she really legit is like there's a person really believing in those causes,
right?
I think they'd be lying about it. You know what I'm saying? Interesting. 10. And so this is a large audience. So I think they're using her brand because she's had a lot of eyes on. And it looks like that's my White Hat Alliance card in the middle. Looks like she had a big amount of people. So she looks like she was taken off the scene some time ago. So that's the breaking of facades and an illusion card. So there's what you see. And I think even for a long time, she was probably a bit of an illusion because she was set in place by her parents and or people managing her parents. Being a bloodline family, I mean, they manage the parents and the whole thing's managed, right? And funded by bloodline families. And I feel like that's ended. So that the real Greta and what she was really doing and what her agenda was and who was handling her. And when you watched for years, she had this particular handler for a really long time. When you look back at pictures of her and stuff, there was this woman handling her. And you could totally tell that was like, she was probably MK Ultra handled, right? Now we've got, and that could be why you see that in her eyes, Meg.
Right.
When they've been handled like that, like she's been messed with from the time she was young, probably satanically ritually abused. Like her whole family is so suspect, like weirdos, right? So now we've got the 10, and they're also very connected. So don't even kid yourself. She's coming from huge money. Okay. But it's all like, there's being all subtle about it. So we've got that she's being used, it looks like, as part of the wake up. So, so even what they're doing there, so we've got the alliance here. And so a lot of this looks totally staged.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever we were looking at there, they're using it to wake up her large audience because she had a lot of people looking at her. So if they make her look foolish, she's already like embarrassed herself so many times in the public. I have a feeling it's the way of the Biden regime that was fumbling around there for 4 years, making complete fools out of their entire group.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they're using that same tactic with her.
Mm-hmm. For sure. And do you feel, Janine, and you may have already said this, so forgive me, but do you feel she was created from birth for this role that she's playing?
Let's have a look. Yeah, I mean, if her family are transgender, like I suspect, that mother couldn't have had the kids, so maybe she was even placed in the family, right?
Mm-hmm. Barb Zona. Oh, sorry.
Sometimes they even have the father birthing the kids and the
Mm-hmm.
woman who's the male, but often the family doesn't, they're more for looks. They don't even actually like have a regular connection relationship. They don't use sexuality in the way sort of healthy people do. They use it as a dominance and an abuse and a power and to connect with their gods, demons. Yeah. And they don't use it in any way to be empowering or make a connection with their partner. So the relationships are always weird. You can tell by looking at how they interact and stuff. I've watched her family and her growing up for quite a while. It's pretty interesting when you like look beyond the veneers. Yeah.
Right.
So we're looking at, how did you put it?
Yeah. So was she like created from birth basically to be in this role? Or is this a natural person that was born that was then put into this role?
Okay. I think it was from birth.
Oh, wow.
And they might have even thought about it pre-birth. So had the idea and then created the whole scenario, put the parents together, chose the child they were going to place in the family. I'm not getting a real family connection here. So I feel like the kids were all placed in the family. Okay, so yeah, this feels like it all came together, maybe even beforehand. And see, we got the big PSYOP card. So the whole family and their dynamic and what they say their background is, how they would have met each other, the father and the mother, all of it looks like a big lie. So we had that same thing happen with Meghan Markle. Like Meghan Markle was also a boy at birth. Surprising as that. And then she was used by the White Hats to show, like, I believe even before her wedding, they moved in on those two and capitulated them. So I think the White Hats have been around for a really long time doing the work behind the scenes. And they actually used the whole wedding to just show you they were there to out the royals. And also to out that none of those royals have their own babies. So, of course, she had the big baby bump that fell down to her knees and stuff. These guys look like they weren't infiltrated by the White Hats maybe till later, not like whereas Meghan and was about the time she had that marriage. Okay, this looks like the deep state would have placed her. So she had a different mother, it looks like. She was physically birthed, so she wasn't created outside the womb like sometimes happens. It looks like she had a physical mother and then placed in the family. And I feel like her family is like all of it looks like not true.
Wow.
So if you see big smiling pictures, I mean, there's a lot of families like that in Hollywood that I'm sure the veneer will come off pretty quickly if you just start looking. But yeah, it's a big psyop. Their whole family's a big psyop. And I think they've placed a few different Gretas along the way. So they might have had one at the beginning and then they replaced that one. And maybe that one's MK Ultra wasn't working and they got it. Yeah, like it's hilarious. It's unbelievable. Okay, about halfway through. So I'd say she would have been about 6 when she got replaced by another one. Maybe they thought this one would be better at the whole climate change stuff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So they create them in a way with MK Ultra and they use a lot of creative, they kill the real person that it was with mind control.
Right, for sure. And speaking of mind control, don't know if you've heard about this, Janine. This is from an ex-post from Dinesh D'Souza. Children, notably Nordic white girls with braids and red cheeks, were often used in Nazi propaganda. An old Goebbels technique. Looks like today's progressive left is still learning its game from an earlier left in the 1930s. Is there any merit to this? Is that because she has a very distinctive look, right? These 2 blonde pigtails. Is this literal MK Ultra mind control being put on us that was used with the Nazis as well? Or is this just a coincidence, her appearance?
I suggest you find some real modern pictures of her, like right up till today. It could just be the actor they're using, but looking more and more like a big kind of gronky boy. It's quite interesting.
Yeah,
and people are making a lot of jokes about it online. Okay, so here we've got the bloodline family kind of card. So that could be like deep state Illuminati kind of card. And then here, so they absolutely did that too. They're absolutely emulating that look, what you said. That's exactly where they're getting. Good one. That's exactly where they're getting their little little situation. Yeah. Now we've got that star right in the middle. So there's a vulnerability to it. A vulnerability. So it leaves so this would be how it affects just regular folks. Maybe they trust that look or something with the braids and the little cheeks and stuff. But as she went on, she got stranger and stranger looking, in my opinion, and their little thing wasn't really working. Also, when she'd open her mouth, just the screeching and stuff that would come out, it would be like, kind of stopped working at some point. Yeah. Interesting. So yeah, they're like literally using her. She's literally was being used first. It's really sad when you think about it. She's placed in family, used, managed, MK Ultra'd, and used for political gain on the side of, looks like the far left and the wokeism, because all of that ties into, your climate change and et cetera. So they got these big agendas and, and they only can go so far because people caught on to it. It was like, okay, we've got pictures from 80 years ago of the same body of water and it's exactly the same tides are happening. And it's like, there's some places that are naturally washing away and other places that are gaining, but that's all just natural ebb and flow of what happens in nature. It's like they've scientifically basically proven if there's such a thing, you know what I mean? But climate change has already been called out as a hoax. So now the white hats are using her brand. It's unfortunate in a way because her whole life's been used.
Right. Yeah, that is really, really sad. And this is a more modern picture of her, I guess, this might have actually been today or yesterday. So yeah, she is looking a little bit boyish there for sure. And this is a video of her from yesterday. Let's just take a little listen to what the heck she is yelling about, it seems like.
Just across the water from here, there is a genocide going on. A mass starvation committed by Israel's murder machine. Keep your eyes on Gaza. We have global media reporting about this mission. Where is global media when it comes to reporting about the hell they're going through in this genocide? Where is global media journalist colleagues who are being systematically targeted and killed, risking their lives reporting about the situation in Gaza. This genocide is being enabled and fueled by our governments, our institutions, our companies, our elected officials who are supposed to represent us. End your complicity, everyone, end your complicity in this genocide. Be human. No one is free until Palestine is free.
She's kind of scary a little bit. Hey, Janine, she's all,
I find that did not look like then the other picture of the Gronky guy. Okay, I find that they might have swapped that person out, because if you notice that other Gronkier picture, the person looks bigger and just broader across the shoulders. I think they're purposely finding actors to really mess with you on purpose, so you'll notice stuff. They want you to notice, like they want regular folks to notice what they're doing here. It's time for people to wake up to this. Stuff happens. They use people all the time. They're always swapping people out, especially famous people. Okay, and we need to know what's been going on, right?
yeah, definitely. Moniquin says, hello from Sweden. Her mother is an opera singer, often playing male roles. Okay, you can't make this stuff up. The whole family is dark.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, for sure. Would you want to maybe take a look, Janine, at, because Greta, she's most known for when it comes to her activism against climate change. Yeah. Climate change is still something that's being projected onto us as one of these end of the world scenarios, one of these very, new world order agendas to try to get us into the 15-minute cities and eat the bugs and all of that. Could we maybe do a poll on what are we looking at timeline wise in terms of climate change? Is this still going to stick? Is this going to be really revealed at some point moving forward? Is there another way you'd want to maybe phrase that regarding the future of climate change and that's still being a thing that a lot of people are believing in?
No, I think that's a good way to ask it. I'm going to do the big 7 card, like we'll do the pyramid spread. So we'll go past. So it wasn't even batting 1,000 in the past. Like it, really, like you can poke a lot of holes in what they're saying there. Okay. So in the past, it was kind of just barely holding on here for the last, say, 10 years. And a lot of people were poking holes in it, reputable people. Yeah. Okay, now the present, so it's gossip and innuendo. So a lot of things that you're hearing are, I feel like right now they're being used. They're almost like, it feels to me like in this war we're in. So we're in this worldwide war that a lot of people don't even realize we're in. Information war. And in that information war, they're using climate change to out it as gossip and innuendo. So I feel like right now they're actually giving it a walk of shame. And I'm not saying we couldn't do better looking after our world. We absolutely can, but not in the way they present it. In the way they present it is only just to take human rights away. Get us in those 15-minute cities, like you said, get us eating government sanctioned foods and like no more beef. And like, whose idea was that? They want to keep you sick, unhappy. They want the loosh. They want keep everybody in little boxes. Don't have any, it has nothing to do with literally the climate. And of course, anybody who is doing anything against our earth is very more likely the very large corporations that a lot of this agenda protects. Okay, so instead of actually outing who's really ruining your atmosphere, okay, they're blaming it on just the regular folks. And it's really the whole created way the system runs. That's what's, if there's anything wrong with your air, and there is a lot wrong with it. It's being sprayed at you. It's what they're putting in the soil. It's how they're growing food now en masse, the big food producers, the food producers, it's right. So they're taking all of that blame away from where it belongs and they're putting it on our shoulders and then raising our taxes. And it's just a money grab and a grab for land, taking all our land away. Yeah, it's just to make excuses for that WEF, 2030 thing.
Right.
Okay, but yeah. So the past, it was sort of, it never really got as, like, there might have been some years there where it was really rocking, but then people caught on fairly quickly. Now it's literally like hearsay and used. I feel like right now the White Hat Alliance is now outing it as the fraud that it is by making it look as foolish as it is. Okay, now we've got the strength card, so that's interesting. Strength, that'll change things. So a strong, somebody might come in to really give us a strong idea about where we're really sitting with it, what's really happening with our Earth. Because I know things are happening and changing. Okay,
Yeah.
but I feel like we don't know, like we've been led down the garden path. Now we're being gaslit on purpose, I think, by the White Hat Alliance, just to wake people up. Like they're making it so in your face that this is how they do it. That you're like, yeah, wait a sec. Right? Now this is the turnaround. I think we start to really turn around, past, present, very near future, start to turn around. I even think by the end of this year, it won't be holding any kind of leverage whatsoever. Like they've even got people like a laughable King Charlie Pants there, who's clearly not the original Charles, and like now he's like walking around dressed like he's from anyway. I won't even say it. You know what he's doing,
Right.
He's supposed to be the spokesperson for the religion in England. So what's that called?
Oh my God. Yeah.
The Church of England. Let's just say that. And he's walking around completely, basically became what looks like a Muslim in the Islam religion, if I'm saying that right. It's like the King of England. That's what he's spending his time doing. And then talking about climate change. So it's like he's a laughing stock and dangerous. Frankly, what he's doing is dangerous. He's basically handing his whole country over, and most of Europe's already being just handed over to basically invaders. And they created that whole dynamic by placing all of these people in. It's unbelievable. But anyway, I feel like, so he's a laughingstock. He's the biggest, like with him and Greta being like, they're the big climate change activists. I mean, now we know it's a joke now with those two.
Right.
So big turnaround comes just at the end of the year. I'd even say January, where you're really nobody's going to be taken seriously if they're even talking about it. And this card's the hidden influence, which is, it's just not holding water anymore. I mean, the CO2 thing, that was, I wonder if that was a psyop on the part of the White Hats with the CO2 and talking about it nonstop, because it's so easy to educate someone on the fact that, trees need CO2 to live. If we get rid of all the CO2, the trees die, the plant life dies, we die. How is that not really obvious? So the whole CO2 thing is just a riot and is easy to, and I am not even remotely an intellect of any kind. And of course, there are probably going to be some people laughing out there like, yeah, we know that, Janine. Okay, but I am intuitive and I'm wise in a different way. And you know what? Like there's so easy to poke holes in that. Like nobody, it's easy to educate people out of that. Somehow we've got to lower, get to a zero emission. Like it makes no sense.
Right.
Okay, it's like we're going to kill ourselves, and that's really what the whole WEF wants us to do anyway. They're wanting us to, put things in our arm that'll kill us, eat things that kill us. give away all our property. Like, they're just mass murdering. Really, that was the agenda. So it looks like by the end of the year, this doesn't even hold water anymore. Like, people are stepping away en masse from it. And I've even noticed, like some of my normie friends, and I got lots of normie friends, unfortunately, but a whole lot of them aren't even, they're not even like, they won't even discuss it because it's too embarrassing at this point.
Wow.
So now we've got the 5. So we're stepping away. This is something to notice, stepping away. And there's been a really big, so we should congratulate really the White Hat Alliance, because they did a great job on really, through almost ridiculousness, educating people on how ridiculous. And I feel like that whole, taxes, carbon taxes and everything. By the way, we're made up of all carbon humans.
Right.
Humans, right? What do we, grind down into? Okay. So we're against ourselves. Yeah, that's what they want us to be. Okay. So yeah, it's so ridiculous, but people will be really angry though. Like, I feel like add this to the list of things people are going to be really angry about because they've been so fooled by this for so long. Like, I don't know about school for you, Meg, because you're a whole different generation than me, but in the 70s, so I graduated in 79, I was 16, almost 17 at the time. So I was kind of a young for being that graduating already. But in those times in high school and everything, the biggest thing besides litter, and don't be a litter bug, that was huge. Like, what a concept. Don't just throw your stuff out the window. That was huge. And I agree with that. Let's not do that. Right. But the other thing was climate change. They were really, really coming on strong with it. That was when it was really, really taking flight. And I remember like the propaganda machine for it was unbelievable.
Yeah.
They spend a lot of time in schools telling you, what was all the scary stories about glaciers melting and stuff like that. And it's just like, instead of like, telling you that in fact, every how many years that the earth does go through a big change. And,
that's for sure.
Cycles back around. Yeah. But these two are interesting. So we've got the Queen of Pentacles at the Page of Pentacles. I'd say, so January, again, another nod to January, where really it looks like some really solid evidence that it's gone off the agenda forever. I feel like it'll be so outed by then, and something in particular really helps push it right over the edge.
Definitely. And have you ever heard of the term before, Janine, climate anxiety?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
This is something I feel bad because there's genuinely a lot of people out there that are going through climate anxiety, anxiety induced by the fear of climate change. Just want to play this quick clip on double speed, and then I want to bring this up with you in the cards.
To your parents, and it helped you it gave you more hope, I suppose. What is it that you were doing, like, to campaign to your parents?
Yeah, I mean, of course, when you're a child, when you're like 8 or 10 or 11 years old, there is not much that you can really do to make a difference. So you start small. I started with turning off the lights at home to save energy, and that led to another thing, which led to another thing. And eventually I stopped flying. I became vegan and so on. And then I got my parents to do that too, because I started talking to them and they started to listen to my concerns. And by making them change, it also gave me the sort of courage that I needed to move on, to start school striking. So starting somewhere is really good. Starting home, for example.
I think that's what they say, isn't it? Start where you are. Greta, these days, you're still just 19 years old and you are a key voice in this huge global movement. That comes with a lot of pressure. What helps you deal with that?
I think the most important thing is knowing that we are so many people who are fighting for the same cause. I have so many friends who I can share this with, and who are also activists, and without them it would not be possible.
Yeah, you hold those other activists close. I actually saw this amazing picture of you having fun, because you also like to have fun, with Malala Yousafzai. Now, those hats, I know that there's a story behind them. You knitted them, crocheted them?
I crocheted them. Yes, that's what I do. I'm a frog hat factory.
Well, you're not exaggerating, because I saw you earlier with one of your team, and there were several members of the group traveling with you. People had the frog hats on.
Yeah.
How many have you made now?
Maybe 25 or so.
Wow. Okay.
Wow.
Okay, we don't need to hear her talking about her frog hats. But yeah, this is something I've also seen with kind of normie friends and family members where they are genuinely freaked the heck out by climate change. They have anxiety about it. Janine, for those of us in the audience that maybe we have a child with climate anxiety or a grandchild or someone we're close to, how can we navigate this? What do the cards have to say about this?
It's real. It's a thing.
It's a thing.
Right? One more thing to get everybody, like, of course, they're keeping everybody, anxious about so many things, and that's one of them. And a lot of them are made up things. I mean, fear is like assuming something's going to happen. Like, you're calling it to you. You're literally, when you fear something, you're literally attracting the very thing with your energy, because you're assuming that thing's going to happen. You play over all the ways it can happen, and like all of that's could create a lot of anxiety. So it's real. It looks real. Okay, so what to do about it? That's down here. So you're going to need patience. Okay, you're going to need to approach it patiently, so not with ridicule or teasing or take it for real, because it is real to them. To them, it's real, and people with anxiety, to them, it's real. I had anxiety for the first and only, thank goodness, time, like a really big anxiety situation for a few years there, after being on a really icy road in bad tires, and then after that, no matter what vehicle I was in, could have been a tank. If I was on roads that were even remotely looked wet or icy, that same anxiety would come over me, like I was in danger again, and I was petrified to drive on in any kind of weather, even if it was windy. So that took a few years, and I kept changing my vehicle, thinking, okay, if I just get a more solid vehicle. Had a Volvo, and I had a, you know what I mean? Kept getting these vehicles to try to go, okay, what's the best bet for safety? And it wasn't the vehicle. It was my anxiety had to be handled and managed, and it takes time. And I love myself out of it. So you got to love your kids out, like love them, but patiently, quietly, like when they're not in a big, anxious, when they're not really in the full of it, okay, that's when you want to have a little conversation with them, get some common sense in there, make sure you give them the other side of how things could be and what's really going on. Don't just not talk about it, I think, but talk about it when there's a loving space, and they'll listen. Okay, when they're having a big attack, an anxious attack, that's probably not the time. Okay, maybe hold them through that, love them through that, but just approach it with patience. And I do feel like with all the information coming out, maybe share some of that again, as long as they're in a receptive mood and maybe not in the throes of a big anxious attack.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is really good words of wisdom. We're getting close to the end of the show here. Janine, should we maybe do a poll on what the rest of the year looks like for Greta Thunberg? She seems to be out there a lot still, but a lot of people are waking up.
Yeah. And like even that picture of supposedly that was supposed to be her and a friend with the frog hat, that wasn't her profile. That wasn't her. You know what I mean? How often are we seeing, like, they're just people up?
Yeah. Weird, Janine. I just noticed that this recent picture of her, she seems to be holding a frog hat again.
Yeah.
Interesting symbology there.
Yeah. And well, think about it now. Think about it. There's that frog drawing cartoon that's the far right people use. Okay. So Patriots, like everyone's They've got that little logo on there. You know that it's going to be a really, really patriot-driven, truther-driven video if they've got that little frog in the corner. Do you know what I'm
Right.
talking about? You guys know what I'm talking about? You guys know. In the comments, share something in the comments with it. Okay, so they do the social media, and so I feel like that's more walk of shame.
Right.
Right? Because I think she got capitulated some years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And they're using her brand. So now they threw some frog visual. What does the frog have? She's not an advocate for frogs that we know of. Do you know what I mean? So why the frog? Okay, because that green frog. And that's not a handmade hat she's holding there. So she was saying she's making handmade hats, and those ones looked like she handmade them. Okay, that one doesn't look like a handmade hat, at least from what I can see there. You know what I mean? Like, interesting.
For sure.
Greta, what's really going on with Greta? Okay, according to this, she's not here anymore. Like, she's long gone. Long gone. Yeah, she's see the 10 done and done. So they're using her brand politically right now. They're using her brand. The White Hat Alliance is using. She's gone undercover. So she's undercover. And somebody like her, like, I don't think that, like, I don't know if she'll be tribunaled or what'll happen, but somebody like her, she was born into this and didn't have a choice, really. I hope they take all of those things into consideration. Of course, she's young as well, but she's undercover. And maybe they're just, getting information out of her or whatever. They probably already got information out of her because she comes from a bloodline family. So she's going to know some things about how these people operate. But I feel like she might even be, and now we're going to get woo on you guys, be shipped off or other dimensionally moved. I don't think she's spending any more time here on the earth plane. And I don't mean she was I don't want to say the word, but I don't mean she was processed. That's the word I usually use for the Gitmo thing. I don't think that. And I don't think they do that to somebody who's young and was brought into it and had no choice in the matter. Like maybe if she was in her 20s and was still choosing to be on that route, she might face some, because you have choices at some point. Right. In her case, 19, I mean, and I think she would have been capitulated a few years ago, maybe at 16, 17, because this white hat thing's been going on for a long time. And she's been making a fool out of herself since the beginning, but really bad for a few years here, where I was suspecting that she was being walked of shame, or their agenda was not necessarily her, but they're using her brand to make a point now. The White Hat Alliance. So I feel like she's not even on planet really, and or dimensionally, because possibly we don't live on round planets. I'm not sure about that yet. So I'll just say she's not currently on the Earth.
On the Earth. Wow. Yeah. That is super trippy, Janine. Always very trippy when we look into these people. So very, very interesting. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for joining us. And let's see, on the schedule for the rest of the day, we've got Ashal and I are going to be live for the As Above, So Below show. That'll be at 7 p.m. Eastern on the Beyond Mystic channels. You guys can check that out.
Cất mái tre để chắn ánh sáng của mặt trời, mặt trăng và các vì sao. Hơn nữa, phần đất lấy ra được khi đào mộ huyệt được gọi là cát thổ, tức là đất lành, phải trình lên cho hoàng đế Ngự Lãm, sau đó bảo quản tại sảnh của bộ lễ. Đợi sau này khi an táng hoàng thượng sẽ được lấp cùng với những kỳ chân dị bảo khác, nhằm cầu mong lăng mộ yên bình, thổ nhưỡng tốt lành. Bởi vậy có thể thấy được tầm quan trọng của nó. Do đó nơi kim tỉnh này trên lý thuyết thì chỉ có 5 vị đại thần phụng chỉ mới có tư cách vào xem. Dâng lăng dâng hương rửa tay xong, lúc này mới đi tới địa cung. Bên trên địa cung đã được đậy nắp, nhưng vẫn chưa đắp đất. Những cột điện và bệ đá to lớn bên trong lăng mộ đã bố trí xong, được 7 phần rồi. ngay giữa bệ đá nơi đặt quan tài chính là kim tịch, nơi kết nối âm dương, trao đổi linh khí. Dương Lăng đi tới bên cạnh kim tịch, đưa tay sờ thành giếng, mặc dù hơi man mát nhưng lại không giống như bị nước thấm, thì không khỏi giật mình. Phùng Đường vội thưa: đại nhân, mà tướng từng hỏi tay tập trưởng đó, nhưng hắn một mực khẳng định là đã từng tận mắt nhìn thấy kim tịch phun nước. Hơn nữa lúc đó có mấy huynh đệ ở trong địa cung cũng đều nói như vậy, chắc không phải là đều nhìn lầm cả đâu. Dương Lăng ngẫm nghĩ một lát, nâng tảng đá chui hơn nửa người vào trong đó dò xét, lần mò dưới đáy hố một hồi. Cảm giác dưới đáy đất rất là khô rắn. Tuy nhiên miếng đất hình tròn ở chính giữa kim tịch đáng nhính phải nổi lên, thì lúc này lại có vẻ như bị lõm vào, hơn nữa hơi nhắm tay, dường như đã bị thứ gì đó chọc vào. Dương Lăng sờ soạng một hồi rồi dựng dậy soi đèn nhìn. Bụi đất trên tay áo rất cô ráo, nhưng lại có dạng bị vụn, không giống loại đất nện gốc dưới đáy động. Trong lòng y bất giác dấy lên lòng nghi ngờ. Dương Lăng mang trong lòng trăm mối nghi ngờ trở về chỗ ở của mình. Vừa mới ngồi xuống đã thấy Nghê Khiêm, Khâm Thiên Giám Thị và Lý Lang, Lý Đạc của bộ lễ vội vàng chạy tới. Vừa vào cửa, Nghê Khiêm đã cười nói với vẻ không được tự nhiên lắm: Dương đại nhân vừa mới trở về đã đến địa cung xem xét ngay rồi hả? Dương đại nhân từ trong kinh tới đây, không biết hoàng thượng có ý chỉ gì về việc kiến tạo đế lăng không? Dương Lăng đứng dậy cười đáp: ra là Nghê đại nhân, Lý đại nhân, xin mời ngồi. Hoàng thượng hết sức quan tâm tới đế lăng, lo lắng quan binh lười biếng, dây dưa lỡ công việc, do đó sai bản quan trở về lăng đốc thúc quan binh. Bản quan vừa mới đi tế bái lăng tẩm tiên đế xong, đang định đi gặp các vị đại nhân, không ngờ hai vị đại nhân đã đến trước rồi. Nghê Khiêm đã sai đấy công công lôi kéo tỷ năng Lý Kiệt của bộ công tính toán chi phí công trình, cố quân nơi hắn, còn mình thì vừa vàng tới đây, muốn xem Dương Lăng có biết gì về tin tức địa cung thấm nước 2 ngày trước hay chưa. Khi nghe thấy vậy thì gượng cười. Công trình tiến triển thông thuận, cũng không có gì không ổn, Dương đại nhân không cần phải lo lắng. Dương Lăng cười nhạt: bản quan chỉ phụ trách an nguy đế lăng, đốc thúc quan binh thi công theo đúng quy định. Nói thẳng ra thì không có gì phải lo lắng, huống hồ một cái tay ngang như bản quan đây, cho dù không muốn lo cũng chẳng lo được gì. Nhưng mà sao bản quan nghe nói 2 ngày trước kim tình ở đời cung phun nước? Cả người Nghe Khiêm thoáng run rẩy, lãng cười gượng gạo trả lời: đó chỉ là do một tên thập trưởng trộm uống rượu say nên nhìn nhầm mà thôi. Những quan binh khác cũng chỉ nghe rồi đồn bậy theo, thực không đáng tin đâu. Vậy sao? Dương Lăng nhìn chằm chằm vào lão: bản quan nghe nói mấy vị đại nhân đã xem xét rồi, vốn cũng không tin những lời của hắn, nhưng bản quan vừa mới tự mình đi xem, ở đáy giếng quả nhiên là rất ẩm thấp, bùn lầy giống như là có nước thấm ra đó. Thì đang bộ lễ Lý Đạc vừa nghe xong, sắc mặt liền tái nhợt, thầm nghĩ: suối nước đó đã được những thanh gỗ bịt rồi, lại dùng tới 3 lớp đất nện lén lại rất là chắc chắn mà, sao lại dì nước ra? Mình phải tìm cơ hội bế kiến lại mới được. Nhưng Dương Lăng vừa mới là một trong 5 đại thần có tên trong thánh chỉ, vừa là người tâm phúc trước mặt hoàng thượng. Mình tuy có chức quan cao hơn y, sợ cũng không đuổi y được. Có y ở đây, mình làm sao động tay động chân được đây? Nghê Khiêm cũng sợ hãi, vội vàng thưa: dưới lòng đất âm u ẩm ướt, bùn lầy cũng là việc bình thường. Chúng tôi thực sự đã xem kỹ, quả thật chưa từng thấy chảy nước. Nói tới đây, lão không nén được sợ hãi, giọng bắt đầu run rẩy. Dương Lăng cười lớn: không có chuyện gì thì tốt rồi. Có điều đã có lời đồn, việc này không thể qua loa được. Bản quan phải đem mấy việc này bẩm báo với hoàng thượng, xin hoàng thượng phái cao nhân tinh thông phong thủy địa lý trở lại để xem rõ ngọn ngành, để bọn họ thấy là không sao. Mai sau nếu có việc gì thì cũng sẽ không can hệ gì đến chúng ta. Hai người Nghê Khiêm nghe xong liền đồng thanh thốt lên: vạn lần không thể. Nghê Khiêm bước lên giữ chặt tay Dương Lăng, lo sợ thưa: Xây Lăng là đại sự, sao có thể chỉ vì nghe tin đồn võ đoán mà kinh động tới thiên tử? Xin Dương đại nhân đừng lỗ mãn. Dương Lăng thấy vẻ mặt kinh hoàng của bọn họ thì trong lòng đã chắc mầm tới 8-9 phần, y không khỏi cười lạnh: nhị vị đại nhân, chuyện kiên tình tươm nước Dương mỗ đã tra rõ ràng rồi, nhân chứng vật chứng đều ở trong tay tại hạ, nhị vị còn muốn giấu tại hạ tới bao giờ đây? Hai người nghe khiêm liền giật nảy mình, trên trán Lý Đạc mồ hôi chảy xuống ròng ròng, sắc mặt vàng ệch, nhìn cực kỳ khó coi. Khâm Thiên dám nghe khiêm, hai đầu gối run lên bần bật, run rẩy hồi lâu, đột nhiên quỳ sụp xuống đất hoảng sợ. Dương đại nhân, chúng tôi không còn cách nào khác mới về làm cái hạ cách này, xin Dương đại nhân hãy cứu chúng tôi. Dương Lăng đưa mắt ra hiệu với Dương Nhất Thanh. Dương Nhất Thanh hiểu ý lui ra ngoài, lặng lẽ đóng cửa phòng lại. Dương Lăng lúc này mới bước lên đỡ Nghe Khiêm dậy, vui giận, mỉm cười nói: đại nhân hà tất phải làm như thế? Có điều tình hình cụ thể bên trong như thế nào, vẫn mong đại nhân nói rõ ngọn ngành cho tại hạ nghe. Dương mỗ phải nghe hết rõ ràng, phải nắm rõ thì mới có thể quyết định làm gì. Quý vị và các bạn thân mến, chúng ta vừa theo dõi hết tập 27 của Ngược về thời Minh. Hẹn gặp lại quý vị và các bạn trong tập 28. Xin chào các bạn, chào mừng quý vị và các bạn đã quay trở lại với Kiếm Hiệp Hệ Thống. Trong buổi tối ngày hôm nay, chúng ta cùng đến với tập 26 Chuyện trên không, Ngược về thời Minh. Dương Lăng và Mã Vĩnh Thành thấy tâm tình của hoàng thượng không ổn, vội vàng lĩnh ý chỉ rời khỏi điện. Vừa lúc gặp Liễu Biêu thống lĩnh 500 thân quân đến, Dương Lăng gặp Mã Vĩnh Thành, nhớ tới việc lúc trước chính Mã Vĩnh Thành đưa bạc cho mình để chuộc thân Đường Nhất Tiên, rồi mình mới đưa ba vị cô nương đó về nhà. Vốn tưởng rằng cứu người ta ra khỏi hối lửa, bây giờ lại làm hại Nhất Tiên mất tích, không rõ nàng đang lưu lạc nơi đâu, trong lòng cũng hơi phiền muộn. Mã Vĩnh Thành thấy thần sắc y có vẻ buồn bực, không khỏi làm lạ hỏi: Dương đại nhân, sao đại nhân tâm sự trùng điệp thế? Có chuyện gì à? Dương Lăng gượng cười đáp: không có gì. Đúng rồi, lần trước công công đưa bạc để chuộc thân cho Đường cô nương, ta chỉ xài 1 vạn lượng, vẫn chưa tìm được cơ hội đem ngân lượng thừa trả lại cho công công. Chút nữa trở về nhà, ta sẽ lấy bạc hoàn lại cho công công. Mã Vĩnh Thành mặt mày hớn hở chối từ: không cần, hoàng thượng còn tin Dương đại nhân, bên trong ngự trang còn ban cho đại nhân một tòa nhà to. Sự coi trọng này quả không người nào khác có thể so sánh được. Sau này chúng ta còn cần Dương đại nhân nâng đỡ nhiều hơn. Lão đắc ý khoe: huống chi bây giờ cũng khác với ngày xưa, chúng ta đã là trưởng quản nội khố, việc mua sắm trong cung cũng hoàn toàn giao cho chúng ta. Chút ngân lượng này đã là gì? Lúc này Dương Lăng mới hiểu được Mã Vĩnh Thành đã nắm quyền tài chính trong cung, vội vàng chúc mừng lão. Mã Vĩnh Thành hỉ hà cười rạng rỡ: trong hoàng cung có mấy vạn nhân khẩu, đương nhiên chi phí hàng ngày rất lớn. Từ một quan thu mua nho nhỏ biến thành đại tổng quản hậu cung về tài chính, quả thực là một mông ngồi lên đỉnh núi vàng rồi, nên lão không thèm quan tâm tới vạn lượng bạc bỏ ra hồi xưa. Cả một vùng 7 thôn trang liền kề ở Tây Giao, vùng ngoại ô phía Tây Kinh Sư, đều bị chính thức quanh lại để làm ngự trang. Dương Lăng phụng chỉ ngụ ở đây. Lại nghe nói hoàng thượng ban cho y một tòa nhà xây dựng sẵn, lẽ nào y không về báo tin cho ống nương. Do đó y nhận 500 thân quân trở về kéo theo gia quyến rồi mới chạy tới Tây Giao. Tân đế đăng cơ, Kinh Sư đã yên ổn, đột nhiên có rất nhiều binh lính di chuyển như vậy, tự nhiên không giấu được người khác. Huống chi đây là việc của Dương Lăng, người gần đây danh nổi như cồn, tin tức lập tức lan truyền khắp Kinh Sư. Đám Triệu Ung đang ăn nhậu